At Freddie, it's a come as you are. It's about your experience, your knowledge.
Your perspective always valued.
Because technology affects every part of our lives, women have a very integral part to play in getting technology to the next level.
The care and feeding you get as an employee of Freddie Mac, from training to the flexibility to being heard.
Freddie Mac really walks the walk when promoting women in technology. There's a lot of room here for women to make a difference.
Freddie Mac, provided a tremendous opportunity for me, and it, helped with my career growth. We have lots of different opportunities for women in tech.
I would welcome new female talent absolutely to this space.
I make it a point to hire women because there are plenty of women out there that have the skills required to be successful in these roles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our LinkedIn Live discussion, Pursuing a Career in Technology, 4 Women Leading the Way. My name is Carla Henry, and I am a Human Resources Director here at Freddie Mac, aligned to the Single Family Business Executives. I will be celebrating 25 years of service with the company in August. I'm so happy that you joined us to learn more about our innovative leaders on the panel today. Over the next hour, you will hear about their career insights and their lessons that they have learned along the way. We know from your attendance today that you are also interested in growing your career in the technology space. And I believe our panelists can help you do just that. So let me introduce them to you this afternoon. First on the panel is Courtney Leibowitz. Courtney is an Information Security Director in Enterprise Technology and Operations. We have Cecilia Rain, who is a Vice President of Servicing Strategy and Integration in our Single Family Division. Also from Single Family is Lee Chen, who is an Architecture Senior Tech Lead, and Marjorie Borsico, Senior Director, Business Transformation, Enterprise Technology and Operations. Hi, everybody. Here's a fun fact about our panel this afternoon. They have over 69 years of combined technology experience. That's just amazing. So I'm so happy again that you've joined us. And our agenda this afternoon will be 45 minutes of panel discussion. And then we're going to leave the last 15 minutes for you to ask questions that you may have. We'll be taking as many questions as we can during the next hour. We're also recording the session, so if we don't get to all the questions, we will put them in the chat and you'll be able to revisit this discussion later. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to jump right in. Our first question is going to Courtney. So hi, Courtney. Can you tell us how you decided to get into the technology sector?
Hi, Carla. Absolutely. So my career path wasn't a traditional one. I didn't know really what I wanted to be when I grew up. Sometimes I still think about it. But I didn't have any aspirations to be in IT. I didn't go to school for it or take any specific training for it prior to going down this path. So my career in technology wasn't intentional. My former career, I led accounting teams, but my family moved about 13 years ago, and I took some time at that point to stay home with my children. But after a few years, I decided it was time to go back to work, and I didn't want to go back to what I had been doing previously. I wanted to try something new, but I didn't know what that something new was. Fortunately, I was recruited by Freddie Mac to join the IT team to help solve a business problem. Simply put, a business person was needed to come in and translate information from the business to technology so that the business can tell technology what they needed done. Typically, this would be filled by a business analyst, but someone took a chance on me, and it was my path in the door to trying something new. During the project, I asked a lot of questions. I still ask a lot of questions, but mostly revolving around why. Why do we do the things that we do? Why do these systems need to talk to each other? Why does this process exist? And the more I learned, the more interested I became, specifically in information security. And as my interest grew, I took on additional responsibilities. And as I took on those responsibilities, my role expanded. And over time, I was asked to lead a team in information security. And now, a few years later, I'm leading a team of approximately 20 people. So I don't know what's next, but I look forward to what's ahead in my career, and I'm happy to be here to share my experiences so far.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Courtney. Love the curiosity. Curiosity leads to innovation, and that's part of the reason we're here today. So let me jump over to Cecilia. So Freddie Mac's mission for our audience is to make home ownership more accessible and affordable to all. And June is actually National Home Ownership Month. So Cecilia, can you talk to us a little bit about your experiences in technology and how that helps us make home ownership possible?
Sure. So thank you so much, Carla. So for the last couple of years, I've led a program called Reimagine Servicing. And the way that this feeds into technology is we needed to enable change. And when it comes to home ownership, it's not just getting into a home, but staying in a home. And an important part of that is if a borrower or homeowner runs into any kind of hardship, life happens, then how do we bring options forth to them and to their servicers, where they make their mortgage payments and where they have their mortgage experience, is how do we improve that? And we do that through technology. So I've led that for the last few years. We're bringing innovative tools and in not only the keeping homeowners in their homes, but also how our servicers report and remit to us and how we report as an investor. So the way that this ties to equitable home ownership is in partnership with Freddie Mac. Our servicers have launched a new tool. It's called Resolve, and it helps them resolve hardships, if they get into trouble. And this helps them sustain that home ownership. So these tools are coming to bear. It helps all borrowers of all backgrounds, and it's our job to bring forth these options, and we do it and enable it through technology. So I'm really excited about what we're doing. Some of the upcoming projects that would apply to that. We have a data roadmap. We're using data in a new way here at Freddie Mac. It's never been done before in servicing. We're working with third parties outside of Freddie Mac and with our servicers and their business partners. And what it does is allows us to, when you have engagement from a homeowner and they need assistance, we need data to make a really quick, solid decision and do that proactively. And so that's something that is on our roadmap, and it's the marrying of change management, technology, and data. And it allows us to have swift and efficient and effective processes that impact everyone in the ecosystem. So in this month of National Home Ownership, that's just one of the small things that Freddie Mac is doing to make a difference.
Fantastic. Thank you, Cecilia. I'm going to jump over to Lee, who will be celebrating a big milestone with the company as well, coming up on 18 years of service with us here at Freddie Mac. Can you tell us a little about how Freddie Mac has supported your career as you've been growing as a technologist?
Of course. Thanks, Carla. So like you said, I've been serving Freddie Mac for 18 years in August. So I joined the company as a professional developer, and now I'm sitting as a senior tech lead for the single family architecture. So along the way, I got lots of mentorship, the guidance. I think that's definitely helped. Recently, 5-7 years back, I moved from the pricing tech lead to the single family architecture. With my experience on the development side, business knowledge, surely, I was qualified for the job. But on the other hand, I also need to learn new things. I moved to new business domain. I become an architect, not a dev lead anymore. At that time, my domain architect, Mike Spoon, he retired last year, unfortunately, a few years back. but he provided much needed support and lots of domain knowledge, helped me grow into the job quickly and, start contributing. Also my boss, single family architect, Jeff Huang, he has been constantly providing mentorship to me and to lots of junior, staff. I remember even when I was a professional developer, and we will form a group to participate Freddie Mac's first hackathon, Code Jam. We actually sought his input. We ended up winning, not because of his input, but I want to make an emphasize the mentorship is so much, so widely available. So for people to seeking help and support, I definitely leverage that for my career growth. And also Freddie Mac provides lots of training opportunities, including the training opportunities during my tenure. You have the online training. The FMU grows really well, and also I've been using Learning Tree constantly, and also conference, Gartner conference. And in the past few years, we started doing our in-house training. 2021, single family formed. We had a 3-day architecture summit, which was widely successful. We provide our own the training to our senior staff, including the hands-on sessions, and lots of things are really helpful. And all those things, the career growth, and during my 18-year tenure here, I did quite a few moves between different divisions. Some of them are horizontal, and I never, all my bosses, managers are very supportive. Whatever you want to pursue, I didn't have problems in moving, around, with divisions. So, and whenever you do a good job, it's recognized. People know it. So that's all, how the Freddie Mac, the culture, the people, the general process help you grow. And also my career in the technology is definitely makes me, more humble, understanding the technology is a much faster growing area. So rapidly changing. You work with very smart people every day, but you also make us more confident because with our experience, we can always solve problems together and, just face our challenges and provide the best solutions that we can provide. So definitely Freddie Mac give us lots of opportunities, at least in my 18 years tenure here, really enjoyed it. I definitely working on Freddie Mac to, another, to the other women, to the technology industry. That's a very good place to work. That's basically my story. Carla, back to you.
Great. Thank you, Lee. I love hearing your story about what you are creating from using technology. And then we heard Cecilia talk about the products that we use to make home ownership possible. So we can see the connection between your boxes and what you guys do for the company. So thank you for that. I'm going to jump over to you, Marjorie. How are you?
Hi, Carla. I'm well. How are you?
Great. So listen, you have business transformation in your title. So can you talk a little bit about what that means and what's exciting and innovative in the aspects of your role here at Freddie Mac?
So we're focused on delivering technology using agile methods. We're really trying to use agile methods to deliver the products that my colleague spoke about earlier, to quickly meet the needs of our customers, to continuously deliver incremental value using the minimum viable product construct, to constantly get more customer feedback. This gives us the ability to fail fast and pivot and meet customer needs sooner than before. The iterative approach with feedback, failure, and improvement, it accelerates our learning process to get to the innovation faster and to get to meet our customer needs faster. And so all of this is happening. And right now, we're really focused on making sure that we automate these tools to deliver the technology in a much more automated and more secure way, because security is the key right now.
I'm hearing security, so now I'm making a connection between Marjorie's box and Courtney's box.
Right.
Thank you for that. So, listen, I have one more round of questions, and I'm going to start back at the top with Courtney, and we'll work our way right through with Courtney, Cecilia, Lee, and Marjorie. I just want to spend some time, and if you could talk to our audience about tips for getting into this field. We heard Courtney say wasn't necessarily looking for this field, but someone took a chance and curiosity got the best of her, and now she's leading one of our critical areas in the firm. So I'd just like for you guys to spend some time. Again, we'll start with Courtney, go right with Cecilia, Lee, and Marjorie. Talk to us a little bit about what are your tips for our audience today about breaking into technology roles?
Thanks, Carla. So, I would focus on a couple of things. One thing would be networking. Networking is so important. It could be your foot in the door or your path to an introduction. And your resume, right? Your resume is your ticket to an interview. You need a solid resume to get someone's attention. But you need to state your intentions in the summary and highlight your strengths. And I would also say, don't get overwhelmed by job descriptions. If the job interests you, apply for it. Some folks are looking for unicorns, someone that checks every single box or requirement, but not everyone. Someone took a chance on me with no IT background. And each time I've been promoted, someone took a chance on me, and everyone deserves a first chance. So speak with passion for the position you want, for the future growth you're interested in. Advocate for yourself, and someone will take a chance on you too.
Cecilia, you want to jump in?
Sure, thank you. And that's such great advice, Courtney. I couldn't agree more. I think if someone were to ask me tips for entering this field, I know that it tends to be, people say it's male dominated. You can see at Freddie Mac, it's very diverse. And my advice would be true to yourself and show up every day, go the extra mile and be confident in your skills. Don't be afraid of change. The way that change is enabled for the better is through technology. In many ways, it's process, it can be policy, but the way that you bring things to market is usually through some form of technology. And the more you practice at something and use opportunities to grow, go outside your comfort zone. You heard Marjorie say, fail fast and get feedback. We're not afraid here to actually fail and figure out how we can do things better. Push yourself. You will succeed whether the competition is male or female, whether you're up against, folks coming in and looking for a role. The one thing I can say about Freddie Mac is they recognize talent. They give people opportunities for growth. I'm an example of that. And I am a change agent. And that's what I'm actually, if someone were to ask me what I do, I say I'm a strategist, but when it really comes down to it, you cannot have a strategy if you don't have execution, and technology helps you get there. Also, just build a portfolio of successes and keep those successes at the forefront. Share those with people. Be confident when you've succeeded, and own a failure, but also own a success. There's nothing wrong with that. And also, not everyone has to be at the top of the ladder or the organization to make a difference. Just know in technology, there's so many different roles that you can take advantage of, and you can make a difference anywhere. Being valued is what's most important. And I would say that's in the technology space, but also in your career in general.
Fantastic. Lee?
Sure. So both Courtney and Cecilia gave the great advice. I can totally agree. From my own experience, I have something on top of my mind is still logging to a good job, do a good job consistently, and it will be recognized. So that's something my own experience, within Freddie Mac. So you do a good job day in and day out, that definitely will get recognized. And also the other thing I want to say is take a little bit more responsibilities. Is that something you want to grow your career? You just do not take order taking. You want to be like Cecilia was saying, you want contributing, taking value. And all those little things will be build you a good reputation there. And also, do not afraid of horizontal moves, but also need to be careful when you do a horizontal move. Your next position, to me, it should not be the exactly carbon copy of your previous one. It should contribute some value. Give you broaden your business value, give you a different perspective, new skills. So that thing will eventually building your career up if that's what you want. And also, of course, need to be confident. Sometimes you look at, I think Cecilia also mentioned about, or Courtney, when you apply a job, you may not have every single checkbox there, but sometimes, especially in technology field, my understanding is nobody knows everything. Things just changing so fastly. Technology grow at exponential speed. But the important thing, you need to demonstrate you have the capability and willingness to learn and to put in effort in there. All in all, it's a learning process. It's a problem solving. So, just make sure you can provide and contributing in your next job. And that's how you grow in the technology field.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lee.
Sure.
Marjorie?
So from my perspective, breaking into this field, I think you need to have training that is a solid foundation. So it doesn't necessarily mean that your education in the past has to fall into technology, but I do think that you're going to have to do training courses and potentially certifications to be able to provide a solid foundation to enter the technology field. And also when you're in technology, because it changes so fast, you do have to keep abreast with the innovation that's occurring in the industry. And so it's not just about training at the beginning of your career to get into the field, but it's also about training throughout your career to make sure that you're always understanding what the innovation is and what the new products and new processes and methodologies are for creating technology. The one thing that you also have to balance every time, though, and it's not technology for technology's sake. It's always technology with a focus on business value. And so you always, in order to be a really good technologist, you have to make the connection between how this technology or whatever innovation you're doing meets your customers' needs and provides them with value. And so as you go throughout your career, that's an edict that you have to focus on continually, because focusing on the shiny things sometimes may seem exciting, but it may not warrant the value that the effort requires. And so always focus on the so what of it all. What value is it bringing? What is the outcome that it is? And the other thing I would say as you come into this technology field is partnering with people that have been in the field before and have advice to give with a mentor or just an informal person that is in your organization or you've met through LinkedIn, through an event like this potentially, to give you advice about how to navigate the career. It's always, information to me is always important and key. And so from that perspective, I think keeping yourself abreast with the education, the newest innovation, and partnering with mentors to help you navigate your career, I think is important, and always balancing what value you're bringing to the organization.
I like that conversation, Marjorie. I'm going to stay with you if you don't mind, because I would like for you to just elaborate a little about the scarcity of women that we see in the technology space, And because you've got that blend of business and technology, I would like to stay with you and just kind of get your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times because of the terminology, because of the lack of women, I think people get intimidated to break into this field to ask questions. And I would say, don't do that. That is a clear way for us to remain such a small part of the technology industry. And again, our perspective, women specifically, because technology now affects every single part of our lives, our perspective on that is extremely valuable. Our perspective, our diversity of thought in how we simply live our lives brings us a unique perspective to provide technology in a way that will advance us, all of us. And so I would say that you have something to give and you have something to share. And do not be intimidated by the fact that you may be one of the few women in the room. Be there and be bold, and come with your ideas, because at the end of the day, that's how innovation occurs. And do not be afraid to fail. The biggest failures that I've had in my career provided me with the biggest ways for learning, biggest learning process to innovate. So failing is a part of the job, and that's actually how you accelerate your learning and innovation process.
Great. Love that. And Cecilia, I'm going to pop over to you.
Okay. That's so well said, Marjorie. I mean, being bold is, I mean, in any women, in any career, but especially technology. I think scarcity here at Freddie Mac in technology, I don't think we mirror the industry itself, because we have so many amazing women who are doing big things here. You can see on this call the impact that these women have. And on the program that I'm leading, we have chief product owners in the agile delivery that was discussed, are female. The tech teams deep in doing coding, and the senior directors who are actually directing the roadmaps, the technology roadmaps. And so I think we are realizing, Freddie Mac has realized, our leaders understand that women are amazing multitaskers because of who we are and how we're made. We are very goal driven. We are solid team motivators. We know how to motivate people and motivate ourselves. And you can see that this is paying off. So I think that scarcity is changing, but it's going to take some brave ladies like who I'm talking with today, who are taking a chance on something different, and making sure that you go out and you learn and you offer your thoughts. Don't sit back and be quiet. Be bold and bring your ideas forth, because that's what changes technology, even, is ideas. And having that confidence to bring yours forth it's going to just bring more women into this field, and you're going to see that be a game changing.
That's fantastic. Courtney, I'm gonna jump over to your box because I'm curious in the information security space, what your thoughts are.
So I will echo what Cecilia just said. In information security, off the top of my head, I can count about 9 female leaders, managers, directors, senior directors, including our SVP and Chief Information Security Officer, who leads the security program. We have several strong female leaders. So I echo what Marjorie said about diversity of thought, and doing things differently, or thinking about things differently, knowing that we have a seat at the table, being confident in the things that we're saying and doing. Information security definitely, shows that with the female leaders that we have. We have strong, confident female leads.
That's fantastic. So, Lee, I want to jump back over to you and just ask you to talk a little bit about why you would recommend Freddie Mac as a technologist for women to come and show an interest and join our company.
Sure. So, like my peer panelists were saying, Freddie Mac provide great opportunities to all women. And also, we already have many female leaders and also female developers, basically lots of female technology workers within the company, and we contribute day in and day out. And just to add on to whatever my peer panelists were discussing, when we doing the work, at least myself, I rarely think of, oh, I was the only woman in the room, or I was only two women in the room, I need to think about something. That's nothing never happened to me. I mean, it's when you're discussing business, when you're discussing solutions, architecture, when you're developing projects, that's never appear in my mind. Everyone just pick up whatever what they're thinking. They are discussing problem solving. So we'll never say because you were female, your perspective is discounted or anything. Never happened to me. And of course, that you have to encourage the female workers to contribute, and then that my own personal experience make me think, Freddie Mac definitely is a very friendly environment for the any woman who's seeking a technology career. This is a great starting point. We have very lots of supporting ground, and we have a great culture and an already diverse workforce. So that's why, from my perspective.
That's fantastic. And I know Freddie Mac is very active hiring at the entry level, at entry levels. And I know a lot of us have participated in mentoring programs. So I'm going to jump back to you, Marjorie, and just ask one, have you participated in some of the mentoring programs in the technology space? And if you have, how has that empowered you both professionally and personally?
Yeah, I've actually participated in two mentoring programs that Freddie Mac has provided. One actually in 2020, and one that's happening right now. And I've been the mentors to multiple people, and I think that really does help with just providing insight as to and experiences. Everybody wants to hear about specific experiences that you've had and how you've overcome obstacles. That's probably one of the biggest questions that I get of, overcoming obstacles when you're the only person in the room that is a woman or a person of color, as an example. And so I think that from my perspective, the mentoring programs, informal or formal, provide a lot of insight, and also I get insight from the people coming in to technology, people trying to get to the next level in technology in their career. I get a lot of insight about their perspective, about what they're working on, and so that helps me also just understand the current folks that are going to be leading us in the future here, what their issues are and what they're struggling with. And I think it's good. It's a good kind of back and forth of information, of sharing, of understanding where we're coming from, and giving each other tips. I've learned from them and they learn from me, and giving each other tips and tricks of things. The wonderful thing is there are so many ways to kind of meet up with mentors. There's the formal and informal way, but there's also so much information out there. We can go out there and find information together, review it, and then talk about it afterwards. Whatever the topic of the day is, it's provided a lot of good insight and a lot of good information sharing to empower you moving forward. And I would recommend that to anyone. And I think Freddie Mac, from an organization specifically, really tries to do a large number of mentor programs to provide people with opportunities to hook up with leaders and get their insight. I think it is a very clear priority for Freddie, for the newer folks and the people trying to get to the next part of their career, that they have access to the leaders, and the leaders are open to making sure that they give their time to the folks that are coming up, and it's important.
That's fantastic. I absolutely agree. And I love how we're seeing more reverse mentoring these
Yeah.
days, because it is a two-way flow. That two-way flow helps us all to grow. So I'm going to jump over to you, Cecilia. I don't know if you've had the same experiences, but I know you can talk about the empowerment of women in technology.
Yes, and I've had so many amazing mentors in my career before I was actually in technology, and still to this day. I think that you have to have diversity of thought when you're looking at mentors. And I've had female and male mentors who they've meant the world to me. We've built relationships and partnerships. They're trusted advisors and people that I can go to and bounce things off of. And you should have mentors where you work and people that you admire. They don't necessarily have to be at your company. I find that you'll know in your gut if someone is wants the best for you. And what technology has done to empower me is it has taken ideas and brought them to life. And that's what technology does. And so when I have, as a strategist, you think about visions for the future. And without technology, we can't do that. We can't get there. And so that's very empowering when you actually have a vision in your mind and you work together with technology teams and they come to life. There's nothing more rewarding. And I think that mentors are a part of your career, and technology can help you get there. So I can't say enough about Freddie Mac and their support of women and just their support in knowing how important it is to stay on the cusp of what's new, what's innovative, and how do we bring that to life here. And so, kudos to our leadership in across the board that recognize that.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Lee, can you talk a little bit about giving advice on someone who may find our field intimidating, or they're not sure if it's the right path for them?
Sure. So, so sometimes I think it's a two-way things to think about it. One thing, maybe I have always been working on the science or engineering field. Just to ignore or kind of put it behind, when you sit in a room, maybe you're only a couple female, engineers in the room. Even in that situation, focus on the problem we try to solve instead of thinking too much or say, getting conscious. So sometimes you just have to be confident. You can contribute and not just and kind of minimize the impact from the surrounding environment. And sometimes also be conscious as, maybe they have behavior difference between man and woman, but you have to take it more as this is for business. It's not do not take things for personal, and be confident, be prepared, and then, even try to focus on whatever you need to discuss and not about, just like I said, I am the woman, I'm kind of discounted. It's not like that. Do not plant that seed in your mind. And again, if you do feel sometimes you get intimidated, if intentionally intimidating, you need to speak up, and you seeking support. You also make sometimes just offside conversation will be helpful. So first, still need to be confident, be prepared, know what you do. And sometimes I think my other peer panelists were saying you can starting with something between business and the technology. I think Courtney has a very good example, and then that will make sure if that's something you grow into and give you more exposure. And I believe Freddie Mac provide lots of this opportunities as well. So that's just my 2 cents.
Fantastic. Well, we'll take those 2 cents. We appreciate that. Courtney?
So I would say for anyone that feels like this is possibly intimidating, technology being intimidating, ask questions. ask for help. No one expects you to know everything. Be open to learning something new. You know, back to Marjorie's comments about mentoring, get a mentor. You know, leverage the people that you know, your network. You know, it's okay to be uncomfortable. You know, but have someone, you know, look over what you're wanting to do, or check your work, or, you know, just leverage your partnerships. You know, it's not as scary as it seems.
Okay, great. Well, we have had a great discussion with all four of you. Um, your insights, your advice, your nuggets of wisdom regarding your careers has just been amazing, and I know it will help many. So what we're going to do now, I promised the audience we would transition and take as many questions as we can, so we can get them in before the hour ends. So let's switch over to our Q&A, and let's take some questions from our audience. Okay, so first question, what certifications do employers recognize for those of us who want to take certifications to help grow our career? So Lee, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. You know, technology field is a big field, and it depends on what kind of career path you're seeking. Are you want to be a developer and architect, and then in that case, you will looking for focus on certificate you on the technology perspective. When I was a developer, I seek the Java certification. Now you have lots of Amazon certification, architecture certification. Depends on your interest on data side, right? But you are more focused on the management, the project management. There are also lots of certification, PMC, all those things. I think you can take and make your career grows. So that's depends on your career path, and try to figure out what suits you the best.
Okay, and I'm going to jump over to Cecilia and just ask if an individual has years of mortgage ops experience plus project management experience, is it possible for one to pivot into a technology role?
Absolutely. That's exactly what role I'm in now. And so you having that mortgage and business experience is actually going to be a plus for someone who wants to move into technology, because they understand and can translate and speak the language of the business, and the discipline and governance that comes with project management is second to none when you are in the technology role. You have to have discipline, governance. You have to understand timelines and milestones and how important they are. And also be open to learning, because people who are in technology, they don't, you can move from, you see people move from Amazon to other areas and they're technologists, but they might not know the mortgage business, and vice versa. So whether you're going from tech to ops, or as this question posed, I want to move from ops and have project management into a tech role, be open to learning and listening, taking those certifications that were mentioned, leaving yourself open, and just being humble enough to know that you can learn from other technologists, but you can do it together. So I'm an example of moving from the business into adoption and integration, and how do we take what the business needs and enable our customers to leverage it. And that's what technology is all about. So just remember that you're never too old to learn, and no matter what expertise you have, that others have expertise that you can learn from. And mentors are a great way to do it. Coaches, there's just so many ways to do that. And don't forget, we can't do this without men. Men can't do it without women. We're in this together. And I think that, being open, like Lee said, and is really what's important. An open mind is going to allow you to jump from one to the other.
That's right. Always having your voice in the room. Very important. Thank you, Cecilia. We have another question. What's the best advice to get noticed by a recruiter as a woman in technology? Marjorie, you want to take a stab at that?
I think I definitely think that you have to have a foundation of education. If you're thinking that you're trying to have some type of a training that's going to point you in the right direction of maybe a certification or something, I think those things are recruiters look for those keywords as they're searching for, because as you can imagine, there's millions of resumes that recruiters are searching through to find the right candidates. So some of the keywords is going to be around the training that you have and the certifications that you have. Also highlighting all of your experience in the way that you're solving problems, I think is a big way to get noticed by a recruiter, because at the end of the day, what we're doing here is we're solving problems and we're trying to use technology to solve a problem. So architecting your resume to make sure that you have a clear way of showing this was the problem and this was the solution. And furthermore, these were the metrics that I used to show that this was a success. A lot of people say that they accomplished a lot on their resume, but the question is what does success mean to you? Does it mean that the productivity increased? Does it mean that you were able to reduce the number of problem and bug fixes? So those types of metrics on your resume to show what success means when you've done it in the past, or what success means to solving a problem and making sure that everybody agrees that that was a successful solution. Architecting your resume that way, I think, definitely gets the attention of recruiters.
Anyone else have a comment?
Yeah, I would add if you can directly point to benefits and value add. So, as Marjorie said, if you show your portfolio of successes, so bring that example with you. If you are submitting a resume, submit additional information. A lot of times you can add attachments when you're applying for, think outside the box and add, you can't put proprietary information in there, but it doesn't mean that you can't say, I saved a certain percent of money for someone. I saved 3 days on top of a process. And when you add that up annually, that's a lot of money. That's what recruiters are looking for, because, technology is about what did it lead to and how do I get there? So I think that's another way that you can get the attention of a recruiter.
I want to add in a little bit, also taking advantage of Freddie Mac referral program. If you have a friend who works in Freddie Mac, that's the easy way to get your recruiter's attention. Of course, you need to have the skill or ability to learn, but that's a great way for Freddie Mac.
That goes back to leveraging your network for sure.
Absolutely. I love it that we're connecting the dots. We have a question that says, as a new developer and beginning contractor, I'm excited to be starting soon with Freddie Mac. Are there any skills to help contractors make a contract worker to full-time conversion more realistic? So basically, what's the route or the path to go from contracting to a full-time Freddie Mac employee?
Do you want me to take that one?
Sure.
So I would say just make it known, communicate that that's what your goal is. And what are the steps that working with the person who brought you in as a contractor or as a consultant, just lay that out and be clear and ask them, what are the steps that can help me get there? And we have a lot of people that do that over time. Some people actually prefer to be a little more nimble. So I think you can't let your leadership assume that they know if you do or don't want to do that. So.
And also make sure that you're delivering value and doing a really good job. That's going to be the first thing. And then in order to get you into a permanent employee. Yeah.
Yeah, build your reputation, and then people will, come up to you.
Yeah, and take the opportunity to learn, because Freddie has so much to offer, and there's, IT is huge here. Be a good partner.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Marjorie, do you have a Scrum certification or a product owner? Which one is most important in your company?
So I got into agile and scaled agile a while ago. And so I had probably got into it before the certifications were available. I also worked at Amazon for a while. So my experience in agile methods for delivering technology is deep and started very early, but I don't have that. I have a project management certification. I have the PMP. That's what I had because I got that years ago. But no, I don't have that. But at our company, at Freddie Mac, what we focus on is either one. If you have the scaled agile certification or the product owner certification, both of those are valuable. Both of those will provide us a great conduit into, if you're trying to get into technology using that program management role, coming in to become a Scrum coach or a product owner. Both of those will be valuable in getting into the technology divisions at Freddie Mac.
Fantastic. I'm going to jump over to you, Courtney. Here's a question. What advice would you give to someone who took a career break to become a stay-at-home mom and a new IT graduate who doesn't have IT experience? So if you took a
That's
break to stay home as a mom, or you're a new IT graduate without the experience. I'll start with Courtney, and if anyone else wants to jump in after Courtney, please unmute and do so.
So this one's perfect for me because I did it, right? I stayed home for a few years with my kids, and did a career change. So I would look for entry level positions, just to get your foot in the door. Use your network. I've been saying that, throughout. Um, but the other thing is Freddie Mac has a tech analyst program. I actually have 4 on my team right now. They're college hires and they're all at different stages of their life. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, they're right out of college, as a 22 or 23-year-old individual. They could be, mid-career change, but it is a really good opportunity to get your foot in the door, to learn, to grow, gain that experience. It's a really positive experience here at Freddie Mac. Um, I love watching these new folks grow and learn and shine and see what they do next, right? Watching their careers take off. So I would highly encourage that.
Carla, can I just add also that this can be for technology or other skills you're trying to build if you've taken some time off. And I did this, and it just helped me so much. I volunteered at a nonprofit to try to hone my my public speaking skills and working on what would it be like to be on a board that makes decisions. And it was all volunteer. It was after hours. I had to balance that, but there are nonprofits that look for people who want to help, and you could be, helping in something you believe in and helping their technology team as well. So there's just, if you think outside the box, there's ways that you can hone those skills and then bring that to the table. And not only will that show that you practiced how to do the technology, but that you helped your community and went the extra mile to get that experience to enter back into the workplace.
Fantastic. Lee or Marjorie, anything to add? We're going to, I will say one thing before we start to close out our session that relates to that question. The Enterprise Operations and Technology Division also ran a FinTech program for individuals such as that. So no IT experience as hobbies and interests and through volunteer work, but no professional experience. That's another program at Freddie Mac that if folks are interested in, they should also contact our talent advisors. So lots of different avenues to grow your careers here at Freddie Mac. Again, I want to thank the panelists. Amazing job. So happy to hear your stories. I'm 25 years in, I'm still thrilled to hear people tell their stories and share their experiences. It is very, very insightful. And like I said before, I know you will help many today by doing this, spending your time with us. So again, as we get ready to close out the hour, I want to remind you that we are recording the session. We've gotten through the questions. It will be recorded so you can revisit, you can share this with friends, family, peers. Please do that. Again, amazing job to our panelists. Thank you. Thank you to the audience for taking the time out to come and learn more about Freddie Mac. We really are doing amazing things around home ownership, and hopefully you've been able to learn a little more about home ownership, Freddie Mac, and make a line of connection just through the professions that you've heard about today from Courtney and Cecile and Marjorie and Lee. 69 years of combined experience in the technology space. Just wonderful. I want to remind everyone that, again, please learn more about Freddie Mac at FreddieMac.com or our careers at careers.FreddieMac.com. Again, thank you for coming today. Thank you for your interest, and have a wonderful rest of your week.